welcome to All My Art and Soul with Michelle Holden. I'm the mixed media artist behind the channel, and as you can see, as I'm doling out these wonderful coffee filters, I just can't believe I've missed this. And I guess I was watching some other videos. They were using tea bag papers and coffee filters, using coffee to stain them. And I thought, well, why can't I use acrylic paint or alcohol inks in my way? And so I did. I did these in just one 45-minute sitting. Stay tuned for future videos as to I'm going to be going with this series for a while, and I've just begun exploring with the coffee filter. So next week I'm going to just break it down to more clearer steps, especially those of you who are a beginner or new to the channel. This is my first exploration, and it's showing it all. I'm just showing it all to you as we go on my journey. So I thought, why don't I use some fabric markers? I was just digging around and really playing because that's where my headspace is, and allowing myself to explore with more things other than paper. And I'm really into transparent layers. As you know, lush, rich, colorful, subtle, incredible layers is what I'm all about. And now, what am I going to do with these? So coming up, right after I show you how I've just added some bright colors, a little pink and orange, which is complementary to blue, really enhances that blue. And as you can see, there's various blues. There's teal, there's turquoise, and celluline. And here I am with my first page just for you YouTube subscribers who have been here for a while. And we are going to take this to a new level on my channel. And I cannot wait until my summer holidays, and I'll have some really good time. But we can't wait for that. I need to, and I have been learning to take even small bits of time in my studio and use them efficiently, and of course sharing this journey with you. So I'm in the blue zone just because this feeling, I just want to study and explore all the different variations of mostly the aqua blues right now. And on the palette, as you can see, there is teal, turquoise, black, cadmium yellow deep, just a little bit, just to bring out maybe more of a green. And I only ended up using a little bit of that, and just to get that real ocean aqua. And I thought I would bring out some other mark making tools and still exploring the beginning mark layers, using high contrast. So then you have some strong contrast to use once you're putting your transparent layers on top. So I think that's what I'm after, at least in this series. So stay tuned. Please watch to the end. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and welcome if this is your first time here. I have links. I have over 200 videos now, and they are all categorized. So please take a peruse around, and let's get this video started. So these are the ink tints. I still, because I'm focusing on the filters, the coffee filters, and there's all this focus. But now when I get to step back and do my voiceover, I can watch, oh yeah, okay. You know, like I keep my notes on the other side of the page. These are also water-soluble, beautiful mark-making tools, and they are the Cardant, the French name. And it eludes me right now, but you know that I do that every once in a while. And that's okay, because it's the marks that are more important than the name of the material, as we know. So I gathered my China markers. I'm also experimenting and want to bring in those mark making tools that I made. And I do have a video about that. If not, I've shown it on my Instagram. I have lots of stuff going on my Instagram. Not so much in the last week or two. It's a busy season for teachers, as you know. And after that, oh, I cannot wait. So, my usual fun marks that I love. And just not overthinking. Really trying to stay in this play, intuitive mode. I know that I will be dabbing these with a little bit of water, and I'm just not sure if I like this for the beginning. It's super bright and still very effective, because even now, as I see my page beside me all complete, a lot of those bright hues are showing through the final layers, and still working out my black and white contrast, which seems to be what I'm really attracted to. The shadows, the layers. And I really believe I could have gone even farther with these layers, but as you know, my motto is one layer at a time, one page at a time. As you can see, when you put your water on there, not a lot of mixing went on where the blue and the yellow met, and I don't think I wanted it. I wanted to wait for the paints. And of course, so you don't muddy up or smear anything, I realized that I do need to dry in between, though the water-soluble mark-making tools dry very quickly. And as you could see, I forgot, well, if I want pink, I need to have my manganese, my quinacridone manganese hue in there, which I love. I love it with my absolutely favorite palette, and I can't wait to start. I know I've been talking about all these things I'm going to start, right? Well, I'm going to do it, and I can't wait. My inner landscapes and abstract landscapes, but I want to bring some natural, I don't want it to be, and I don't even want to have a rule. I want to try some different red, yellow, and blue combinations, of course, with neutrals, black and white, and see where it goes. Payne's Gray is another one of my favorites, especially when I'm putting a lot of natural elements like sky and water and rock. But back to this page. So just letting everything dry really well. And now as you can see, I mixed first. I chose to mix first rather than my old default way, which was letting it mix on the page, which is great. But I just wasn't getting a lot of, uniformity or continuity with the colors, the colors connecting, relating to each other. And I really wanted to go for this peachy color, which in my mind, I had in my mind the pink, the yellow, and the antique green, the sages. So to get it a little more gray, I would have added a little bit more black, which, as you can see when I did the page, I didn't do. But stay tuned for some more color exploration, and I think I figured out a way that works for me on sort of small cards, on rings, and I'm going to show you that technique, because for me, it's great to have all these explorations, but then if I bury them and put them away in a book or a binder, they disappear from my mind. I have to have them out and small, and just stay tuned and I'll show you what I mean. So, if you haven't subscribed already, please do. Please share, because there's a whole new level of videos coming out. As you can see, when I used the Brayer up there for the teal area, and I realized, oh, I just covered up my favorite marks. I don't want that. So the Brayer is such a great lifting tool. Now, a color shaper can also be a great lifting tool, as you've seen me use it before, where you can do a little spritz of water, of course, before the paint dries, and scooch it across, and you can lift a lot. Now, see the combination of oranges and pinks and yellows, and now we've got subtle value changes in here, and I just want to use my brush. Now, this is a square brush, and it's not bad. I'd like more of a raindrop kind of shape, but I just grabbed it and it was fast. I would be more selective depending on the kind of mark, and that's what I'm going to experiment when I'm making another new batch of collage papers. Here comes a coffee filter collage. One thing I've discovered is that I like it to cut the edges to be sharp, but it really tears nicely. It has this lovely soft edge. It has this fibrous feel and look to it. So you'll see as I tear this piece, and how I made that one, sort of give you a sneak. Oh yes, you see, and I need my black and white, my high contrast, before I put the coffee filter on, because I want something strong being covered. It shows up through. And you don't necessarily have to use black. It could have been a dark blue that you use, a purple, even the pink. Making sure this time, too, that I've changed my tools around with my stenciling, and I'm being a little more cautious because I really don't like when they smear and the pattern gets messed up. It really bothers me, but even though, you cover it up with a collage or whatever. So making sure my brush isn't over saturated with paint. And I want to try some different tools too. So I moisten the brush and then dab it on the paper towel before I go ahead. And then it makes much cleaner marks. And trying to get those organic shapes too. I'm really loving the triple pattern stencil. That would have been really cool. I think I want to use that in another one, those big open shapes. And of course, this one just needed some numbers. I like the font for these. Of course, it's cardboard. It can tear easily. Now 23, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just a sort of a timeline, numbers. They have so much meaning. So I just grabbed what I felt, what I was feeling. And you can too. Really liking, I don't know about you, let me know in the comments, the bottom left-hand corner with all of that pink and orange and the different values. And now I'm going to come in with my sort of diamond-shaped checkerboard, making sure I have nice clean edges. And then you can lift and have a peek. And definitely I needed to go over a little bit more, bringing in those elements more to the left without overloading my brush. And what are your favorite stencils? And where do you get yours? I get mine in various places, sometimes my art store, of course, Stencil Girl. and Amazon, the dollar store. It depends what you find, right? So exciting. And you see how some of them fade out? They're at different strengths, different contrast levels. I really like that. Not sure about now, once I have the geometric shapes in there, but now that see that I noticed, but I was too involved in something else, I might have pushed those other black shapes back a little bit, or that would have been a really good first place for a coffee filter collage, because you would see the black contrast would then become more shadowy, less contrast, of course, and would have pushed it back. Even a thin, transparent layer of white or blue would have worked. So, and it takes more than one page, obviously, to get used to and explore these coffee filters. I am going to order some new inks from Amazon. They have a lovely variety of colors. Bright colors, and this next series I've been just so excited to use a different palette. Beautiful, like this one. This page is so beautiful. It's turquoise, but it has so many other colors in it. I just love it. I need a little color in my life, so that's what we're going to do. And notice the difference in blues. I think this was a little more Payne's gray I added to the turquoise. So as you can see, it cooled it down. And love the frayed edge. That's what I'm pointing out. And you can see a little bit of that pink underneath. You see how easy it is to tear them? And of course, I'm cutting along the shapes. You can leave a little bit of the edge, but what's so fabulous about the coffee filter is that the edges melt and disappear. It is so cool. So gliding your piece of collage, so you're intuitively searching for a composition, right? Which usually turns out to be quadrant related on my page, or horizontal thirds, fifths, something like that. Okay, so that's the composition part. But when we're exploring a lot of that information, history, your experiences, it just builds up in your schema. And you can access that information a bit at a time. But it's just like learning how to play the guitar. The more you do it, the quicker you can the more natural and your reaction. So it's like cause and effect, and it's really, you're creating through feeling, not overthinking, which I love. Oh yeah, so I had this pink idea, and I thought, oh yeah, those things. So now that I'm really starting to have quite a collection of various types of papers in my collage collection. That was the tracing paper, but the stiff one. Anyway, fairly transparent, but it has a waxy surface. And then there's the coffee filter paper, rice paper, tracing paper, tissue paper, and then there's various tissue papers that in the UK they have this artist tissue paper. Now I have a bunch. I haven't purchased it yet. I've saved it in my shopping cart on Amazon. So it's called artist tissue paper. And I think it's a little stronger. I don't know if it's the same grade as to what anyone else is using, but and deli paper. Yeah, it's amazing. Then there's copy paper and laser paper. My images that I use, some are in copy paper, some are on laser paper, and some are skins. And that's a whole other thing, which I'm getting to that whole series and going back. Larger paintings that I've created. But I'm devoting time, and I am part of the Virtual Art Summit with Kelly Wynn. So, I think the last day was yesterday. It just started on June 2nd. It is I've only watched a couple of videos, and I've really learned some really, really cool things. So if you haven't already, I'm going to promote it. It is awesome. I'm really liking the font of those numbers. They're very thin and such a nice contrast with the other black marks there. The China marker is great under the acrylic paint and over the acrylic paint. And what I'm choosing to do now, as I just sat and glanced at the page, and it's pretty busy. So I'm finding and veiling some marks to create some quiet areas to it. And of course, overlapping. Now the hexagons in the middle right-hand side, just under the 4 and 5, as you can see, as I was talking about, and I didn't realize, that's where I put those, and that's exactly where they needed to be, to push those other marks back. I could have carried on, I think I do, with some paint, and I'm loving that tissue, the coffee filter paper just below it, in that orange-pink hue, and loving how the coffee filter over those rhombuses makes them a little, you know that there's something there. It just changes them. So, loving the effects. I wasn't sure how I was going to like these coffee filter papers, but wow. They're my new awesome collage. Now, as you can see, that got muddied up. I'm going, what am I doing? I tried to lift it with the Brayer, put in some stronger pink, which is okay. Seeing that little flashlight there, so the eye's catching that, so that just needed to go down. This is sort of like glazing. Glazing is important. Now that isn't glazing, that's just veiling. Depending on the opacity of your layers. So I end up putting that lower, just below the 2 and the 3. So it's sort of peaking. And this is, see how transparent that is once you wet it? It's so cool. I love that. And what I'm doing now, and what my plan is with these journal pages and other 8x8s. So I want to work in series of 4 right there on the table. So that's coming up in the next video or so with, a different color palette, each set of 4. I think it's a great idea. And continuing my Lush layer exploration with coffee filter collage and anything else. So I wouldn't have thought, I know it needed some orange, but you see, searching out a piece of collage that I already made, that transparent, that reddy pink, made me think, okay, I want to get some more orange on there. And look, when I put them, I see now the one in the middle, I will add that along with the black diamonds or rhombuses. It looks so cool. And when you add a little bit of orange, it really can make your blue pop just because they're complementary. And adding that peachy up there diagonally across now brings the eye up. And we will add something else in the upper left to bring the eye up over there. So I discovered, okay, I need some quiet, but I just don't want to cover up everything in, large, boring shapes. So I just thought, okay, let's go vertical and just bring some of that turquoise down. And it's just very quick, just reactive. And really liking that the white was okay, but now that I've put that turquoise and bringing the eye down, it really is amazing with the different blue in the background. And just using my little circle stamp pipe and thinking odd numbers, nature, 3, 5, 7, 9 is a good one. And now it's just starting to come up, but I think I'm going to try to not take the whole thing on another page, go a few more layers in some areas, the next page. So I better write those notes down. Oh, yes. So how I made this one is you spray just like 4 little sprays of water from an eyeglass cleaner on the coffee filter, and then all the lines, it just goes right flat, and it's not even wet. It's just flat. Rub it, flatten it with your hand, throw your stencil down, and I use the spray distress inks, which you can get in so many different combinations. It comes in 3, and I forget the brand name, but I will put that in the description below the video. And I just thought, I just need just a little pattern, so I'll keep the values very subtle. And when you do that, in any area of your painting, you're not going to change the composition. When you go and add a high contrast, then that's where it changes, depending if you like your composition or not. Yes, so all of a sudden that mauve, it was a layer. It just needed another layer. And you see how I allowed some of it to peek through. And that was a piece of tracing paper printed on my jelly plate. And I am learning now how to take my jelly plate collages much farther. And I really like that, what's the word? Rough, or not rough, grunge. The grunge look, where there's some little bit of pieces of black, maybe from a stencil before, and it's just, that, or raw umber. So I'm going to experiment how to get that effect in the background, and then come in and layer different colors of stencil, half and half, and all of that, with different overlying layers of subtlety. It's just endless combinations. So as you can see, I'm just drawing everything up. And now I like my lines. They've been, I don't mind this one. And if you don't like your line, especially the China marker on the top, you can go over it again with some of the background colors of your paint and quiet it down and just show different sections. And it looks like the lines are overlapping above the surface background and sort of interweaving, and it creates a whole different energy going on in the piece. So what I realized with these marks, doing that sporadic mark and then adding a quiet, maybe curl or a, would have been just more of a contrast, a difference. So the eye loves differences, subtle value, of course, color, and value is in contrast. So now, is the eye able to move around the whole piece? That's after I spin out, and when I look at it, that's one of the main things that I'm looking at. I know it's still very busy. So after it sits a day, tomorrow, when I come around, I'll go, oh, if something catches my eye like that, that's when I'll change it. And as you can see, I'm taking a bit of the blue out, and I'm loving that. Finally, did you see? I finally covered up those marks. Got rid of too much blue, added a little white, putting just a little white, and then you see when I put it in, it created a diagonal effect from the upper right down that right edge. And just scumbling the brush, that's what that's called. You're putting it on the side, and your brush is mostly dry when you're doing that. Love that. And I love the shape it created with that turquoise. Bringing in, so what I want is the eye to come across, and I probably, I know I have, will finish that off with a sprinkle, just a real subtle one this time. And I liked, and you might, where there's black, that's where you want to sprinkle it, rather than having these black dot things show up with no relation, so being near black or about on top of the black, to me, makes sense. So please leave a comment below and let me know what you think about my new series. So I have to call it something, I think I'll just go Luscious Layers with Painted Coffee Filters, Mixed Media Abstract Series. So I will change my title. Okay, so now we're ready for the reveal. And loving how easy the tape is coming off these days. I remember to slice any overlapping papers so it doesn't tear when I do peel off the tape. And you see that big swooshy line that's under the 4 and 5, under the numbers? I will break that up. I know it's still there now, but that's okay. And that was with China marker. It's sort of interfering with the flow of the eye. So I'm just going to break that up, and that's easy to do with some turquoise and picking up some background colors. And I'm calling this page Colorful Luscious Layers with Coffee Filters. And I hope you enjoyed these new techniques. I hope you learned something. I hope you follow along. And wait, there's one more thing. I thought, what am I doing? I can't let this page go without some pink marks with this all these beautiful luscious layers. So for some reason, because of that oval that was there, I made an oval, but I didn't make it as big. So now I'm coming in with some horizontal lines, dots, and it just helps enhance. Oh yeah, and I do like that pink because it brings the pink down from above and it brings that eye. And then just 3 pink lines I add, which brings that crop circle shape overlapping on top and pushes the turquoise in the background. So I hope you enjoyed 2, 3, 4, 5 luscious layers. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.